Hey guys, welcome to She'll Be Right Garage. This is the first episode for the Ford Landau Deep Ivy restoration. Let me show you what we're up to before we get started. So as we can see, it's a convertible and it should not be. It's a heavily rusted vehicle. Most would have considered it beyond salvage. However, it will be repaired and you'll see it all on video. Now if you have a bit of a look, this floor pan does not match the outside. That's because it's been replaced. It's been taken out of an XC Falcon. It's had some modifications done in behind the chassis rails, where we can mount the new brake cable mounts and the tramp rods. So if we have a look through here, the entire floor and chassis has been replaced. Hasn't been joined up to the rear yet. But as we can see, the car itself is very rusty. There's a lot of work to do. And our next step is to replace the firewall and plenum. Somebody's had a go here. We're going to get rid of all that and do it properly. The firewall, plenum, both need to be replaced, and there's a good chance that the pillars may be replaced on the inside and outside of the A pillars, or they could be repaired. We'll see how we go. And the entire left-hand sill is going to need replacement. As you can see, there's literally nothing on the back, and the right-hand side will most likely be repaired. But before we can do that, we need to remove this bare block and gearbox. We also need to put some more bracing on this roof, as you can see. We're going to tie that in, because once we remove that firewall and plenum and A pillars, there won't be much of a structure left. Once we get that all together, she'll be right and we'll be good to go. Let's get started. Time to get it all welded. start to pop a little bit now. You can see how it's starting to separate from the skin. Some of them may require a bit more drilling. And sometimes there's a hidden spot weld or two. So there appears to be a hidden spot weld there. So we'll address that now before we keep going. Now it should be ready to pop. There you go. You can see this whole panel's come apart now. Here it comes. And you can see just how bad it is in there. And somebody's done some very dodgy work. Time to start removing the plenum. So I've made some rough markings to cut away the firewall. Just with a Sharpie, not going to be anything spectacular, just gets it out of the way, then I'm going to grind and clean it up. And that will basically get it ready for me to cut the top of this A-pillar and unpick these spot welds, unpick some down the bottom. And because this is no longer attached and so rusty, and these spot welds have been done, this entire pillar should come out and then allow me to work on the sill. Well, let's do it. Just expose the welds by using a blowtorch. Nice little way of finding out where you got to drill. There's also 3 welds remaining on the inside, which I'm just going to cut with a grinder. Base of the A-pillar, now completely loose. It's time to undo these, and off it comes. As we can see, we've now got this outer skin peeled back. We now have to do this section, and once that pops out, this entire pillar is going to come out in one piece. And here's the weld starting to pop. It's about to come free. Here comes the A-pillar, ready to either repair or replace. Okay, so the bottom sill's now been removed. Not a lot holding it anymore. Just got to do a few of these here, which have now been exposed with a bit of heat. That will pop right off. Alright, so time to continue with these sills. Let's have a look at what we're up to. So this is sedan sills. It's a little bit of repairs. I'm going to chop pieces out of the old one. Need to remove what's left of these pillars and convert it to hardtop. Need to move that bracket over. Need to shift this bolt over for the seat belt. Need to put it about here, I think it is, or a little bit further back. And a little bit of repairs to the talk box bracket there. It's just a little bit of a hole. Alright, so after a few days of mucking around, made the repairs to this sill. So we've got some solid steel on the back, filled in some holes that were drilled in there. I have levelled this out, which was previously sunken. I've also created the line here, which now continues, which was previously flat. Don't know if I can catch it here. You can sort of see it in the reflection. Put in a missing piece that was on the front here. Put in a patch over here, and just generally filled in some of the old holes. So I've also created some new holes that will function now for a hard top, and that's ready to put into place. Let's do it. If you take a look, I'm having a bit of trouble. This panel here caught on the sill, so I'm going to have to pop it out like so, so that the sill can sandwich in between. And now that everything's tucked in place, so we've got some nice lines across the quarter, everything fits like it should. We've got our clamps holding it. Time to start spot welding it, or plug welding it. Alright, not that you can see it, but now that the bottom of the sill's welded together, and most of the top of the sill's welded together, got to tie in the rear quarters. Now, I can't get any clamps in there, so I'm just going to show a little trick with some tack screws. As you can see, that gap's closed, and you can start to spot weld it together. Time to lock in this outside quarter. Now that that welding's done, and all of this bottom's connected, we'll start to grind these welds flush and work on the A-pillar. So, this is my template pillar. This panel's got to be removed completely, mainly so that I can access these top parts here, because they are completely missing. I'll be joining the outer skin, the inner layer, onto this part here, which has been hacked away. I then need to use the inner part here as well, and this part's got to be made from scratch, and all these bottom pieces have to be made from scratch. So here we are, down to about 4 pieces that I could salvage off the donor pillar. Have a look. This piece will be attached there like so. This will go on top like so. This will go on the inside like so. This will also go on the inside. I've got to trim it to fit. Let's do it. Alright, so I've got the top part in. We'll see if we can get a bit of light on there. That's the other car. And that top part in as well. Now made from scratch. This filler panel to go in here like so. Should give you a bit of an idea. So we'll get it welded in. Here we are with the top all done. So essentially, everything on top's ready to go. Just got to work on the bottom. Next up, we've got some repairs to the bottom. See, that's all pretty nasty rust there on the outer part of the pillar. I'm going to chuck this little replacement piece in that I've made up. And the next one after that is the outer piece here. Once those two bits are done, I'll work on the inner and that'll be the pillar done. And now with that done, next step can be to work on the inner panel and be ready to mount it. Alright, here we are. So the bottom pillar's been repaired, like so. Now ready to install. So if you have a look, we've got this piece that's got a slide in here. That's for the A pillar. Then we've got the outer piece that goes on top like so. Now, in order to fit that, I can't just slide it in, because if we have a look, I need to actually fit that replacement piece first, which is here. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to trace where I want to cut it here, remove the old piece, trim this to suit, and then actually weld this piece to the pillar first. Then I'm going to put the outer A pillar on, and then I can rejoin this piece. So these three will then tie in that way. So let's get it started. And that'll be joined back together like that. Alright, as we can see here, I've clamped that into the middle and I've lined it up with a pillar, so I'm going to weld that in place. So now that that's tied in, the top of the pillar is together. It means I can muck around lining up the bottom. Alright, so I've just done a bunch of welding on top of the outside skin, got it clamped in, got everything lining up. So now I'm ready to spot weld that into place. That's the outer skin of the pillar, and then I can join these up, and that will be the entire pillar assembly completely rejoined and welded. Alright, here we go. So this is the entire A pillar, all finished, done and dusted. Have a good look at it there. It's all tied in. Alright, so here we have it, guys. That's the end of the first episode for the Landau build. Join us when we do the other side. It's going to be a little bit different to what was done here, so do join us for that and I'll show you how it's done. Fucking welder. Why does it keep jamming? And I've run out of welding wire. Son of a bitch.